So let's get into yesterday's notes first. Okay. So yesterday we were trying to deploy a custom template, and then we have basically discovered what are the different things which we can do with respect to this, right? So today what we'll do is we'll extend this discussion and we will try to see what are the other things which we can basically go ahead and add. Okay. So initially when we started with a very basic template where we had literally a very simple stuff, and then we added a resource to that, and then we added a resource to that. Okay. So the resource which we have added was basically a network resource, and to that network resource we have basically added the subnets. Now let us get into that part. C drive, classroom notes. Okay. Right. Ah, okay. Right. So if you look into yesterday's notes, if you look into yesterday's notes, we had basically created one simple what do you call it? A very simple stuff, right? So where we have created a network. Now let us first have a look at that script and see what is the problem with that script. What is the problem with respect to that script? So let us get into that. So I'm opening C drive, Azure, ARM zone, May 20, and let me open. Okay. So this script definitely looks good. There is nothing wrong about it, or there is nothing bad about it. Okay. But there are some challenges into this. Okay. So the challenges are, okay, okay, improving the template. So in the last series, we had created the following template. Okay. Now, what is the problem with respect to this template? Are you sensing any problem over here? Anything which you are seeing over here? Any problem? No. Everything looks wonderful. Okay. Lengthy is not a problem, sir. We can't reduce the length. Okay. Lengthy is your personal feeling about it. Right. Uh, why do we write a template? What is the basic purpose of writing template? Okay. We won't create network again and again. To be very specific, we do this every time. This is the most repeated activity in your cloud, because no matter whatever deployment which you are doing, you need to have a network. Yeah. So we write any template so that we want to reuse. Yes. We all agree with that. And now if you look into this template, whatever you have written, if I want to reuse, the problem with that is every time it will try to create it will try to create subnets with same names. Every time it will try to create subnets with same names. And my storage account name is also same. Okay. So if I use this template, it will be creating exactly the same thing. Okay. So it is like writing, okay, function add, okay, and return 4 plus 7. Now, you might have called this function as add, but this function is always adding 4 plus 7. How to make it look like add? We do this. Function add a comma b, okay, and then we will say return a plus b. Do you all agree with this? All right. So this is exactly what we are going to do to our script. Okay. So to make this script more generic, we need to parameterize. We need to parameterize it. Okay. In ARM templates, we use parameters to take input from users. Okay. Yesterday we have looked into resource. So if you look into resources structure is in resources section you will try to give name and properties of the resource, and along with that you will have type. So now let me go to the Google and then type ARM template structure. Okay. And in this, are you looking at this parameters? Okay. Refer here for docs. Okay. So the basic parameter structure looks like this. Okay. You'll have parameter. Okay. You'll have a section called as parameters. You can give type. What is the type of your parameter value? What is your default values? What is your allowed values? Min value, max length, min length, metadata. Okay. So now to define a parameter, let us look into types. Types are you can give string. Okay. You can give secure string is for accepting passwords, int, bool. Okay. You can give numbers. You can give arrays, right? If you want to look at all the different possibilities, you can look into data types. You can look into data types, right? So these are the different data types which we basically have in ARM templates. So now, okay, basically by using this, let us try to let us try to add parameters to our stuff, add parameters to our input. Now, what are the different parameters which I can ask for the user first? So the first parameter which I want to ask the user is the names of your virtual networks and names of your subnets and basically the names of your storage account which you have created at the last. Okay. So I'll go over here. I'll try to write a section called as parameters. Okay. And if you look into the parameter section is an object. So over here. And now in here, I want to write one parameter. Okay. So using ARM parameter, then it will try to tell what is the name of your parameter. Name of my parameter is vnet name. Okay. So type is string, metadata. This is virtual network name. Let us see what is it trying to tell. Okay. It is never used. Fine. We have not used it yet. That is right. Okay. So I've created my first parameter, and in this let me give the default value. If I don't give the default value, what happens is this parameter becomes mandatory. You have to enter the value. User has to enter the value. So default value for VNet name is VNet. Okay. And then I will try to tell subnet names. Okay. And then I will try to tell subnet count. Okay. Subnet count, let me not worry about it. Let me try to give subnet names. Okay. So let me try to write it as ARM parameter. Subnet names. My type will be array. My type will be array, right? And then description, names of the subnets. Okay. And default value, right? I have to give this. Since it is an array, I am giving it as subnet1, or let us give better names. For this network, let me call it as entire. Okay. For this, let me call it as web subnet, app subnet, DB subnet, and then management subnet. Management subnet. Okay. Right. This is fine. This stuff is of a different region. Okay. And now the other thing which I want is, okay, subnet names I have given. Then subnet address ranges. Okay. So let me not write this. Let me write it as ARM plan. Okay. And also one more ARM plan. Okay. Right. Not ARM plan, ARM parameter, right? ARM parameter. The first parameter which I want to give is VNet address space. So here, let me give default value. My default value will be 192.168.0.0/16. But this time I will also give allowed values. Okay. I will try to tell my allowed values are 192.168.0.0/16, 10.0.0.0/16. I'm just writing only for the sake of it, right? So, and then 172 dot, okay, let me do one thing. Private CADR ranges. That 172 series I always forget. 172.16, yeah, 172.16.0.0/16. Okay. Now, these are the values which we have given. Okay. Now, CADR ranges. Okay. Subnet CADR ranges. Okay. And type is array. Default value is, we have 4 subnets if you remember. So I need to give 4 values over here. So 192.168.0.0/24, 192.168.1.0/24, 192.168.2.0/24, and 192.168.3.0/24. This is my default value. If the user want, user can change it. So I've defined all of the parameters, and then I'll be trying to give one more parameter, which is storage account name. Okay. Let me not write it. Let me always use this help from Visual Studio Code. So storage account name. Okay. Let me give default value. Okay. These are subnet ranges, storage account name. Okay. And default value would be okay, something like this. Right. Now I have defined these parameters. Do you all agree that defining parameters is easy? It is not difficult. You have to define, you have to try to tell what is the type which you want. Is it a number? Is it an int? Is it a string? Is it an array? Right? So if you want, you can give an object also. Right? Do you all agree with this? This till this point, is it okay? But we have created parameters, but we have not really used them. So we need to understand how to use them. Guys, I'm not getting any response. I've just created what are the possible parameters. Yes, right. Right. Now, wherever I wanted to use this name, now there is no need for me to hard code the name. Okay. I already have the name over here. So try to use square bracket and then call parameters. And in that parameters, you will have a name. If you remember, our parameters name was VNet name. Okay. To create the parameter, this is, and to use the parameter, the syntax is okay, square bracket, okay, in double quotes, parameters of parameter hyphen name. This is what I've done. Okay. So now, right. So we have address prefixes. Okay. Even this is something which we have taken as an input. Okay. So I can basically write square bracket of parameters of okay VNet address. Right. And now let me go to the easier ones first. Okay. Qt storage ARM demo. So there is no need for me to write this hard coded name. I can write parameters of storage account name. Storage account name. Okay. Now let me go over here. So here, if you remember my subnet names, I have defined as an array. I have defined as an array. Okay. So generally, if you have written something like x equals to 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5. So to access this first element, you will be writing x of 0, right? Yeah. So I'll try to use the same syntax. Parameters of, okay, subnet names, okay, of 0. Oh, sorry, of 0. Okay. Now, let me try to copy this. And rather than this, let me try to give a name called as parameters of 1. This will be 2. The numbering will start from 0, 3. Okay. So I am going with only 3 values over here. I am removing the rest. Okay. Right. Wonderful. Now I have to give the same thing for address prefix now. In address prefix, I'll be trying to tell that I'll be using a function which is called as parameters. And in parameters, subnet CIDR ranges, and the subnet CIDR range is 0. The subnet CIDR range is 0. Now, copy this expression, paste it over here, and rather than calling it as 0, call it as 1, 2, and then 3. Okay. So is there any doubt which you have now? So if you see, 7, our script has become more lengthier, but it has given us more advantages, right? We don't look at templates with respect to their length, with respect to their length. Okay, right. Okay. Now, what I'll do is, let me give a different version to this template. Okay, that is because we have changed a bit. Okay, so adding parameters will change the template as shown below. So the same template for achieving this. Now let us go to Azure. Okay. So let me go to resource groups. Oh, seriously, do I have this resource group? All right. All right. Okay. Let me go ahead and add a resource group. And let me call this resource group as ARM learning. Let me go ahead with review and create, and then create it. Okay. So my resource group is already present. Now I'll be going ahead. Okay. Right. So I can basically deploy my template. Okay. From UI, from CLI, and from PowerShell. Okay. So I'll still be deploying my template from UI itself. From UI itself. Okay. Then I'll show you how to deploy from CLI and PowerShell once you get familiar, because I don't want you to distract from the writing template. So that's the reason I'm sticking still to UI. I'll try to say a new template deployment. Okay. Create. Okay. So build your own template in the editor. Now you can either give the path of the file, copy path, and then say load file, and then open it. So are you seeing? It is trying to tell that now in this you have 2 resources and you are creating 5 templates. You are creating 5 templates. Okay. Right. Okay. So whatever we have created is present over here. Now let me save this. Okay. So right. Now deploy this template using portal. Okay. Can be done from CLI and PowerShell also. Okay. But for this, understanding this, it is better initially let us start with the review sorry, dot slash images slash, what is that, ARM 17. Yeah, ARM 17 dot png. Okay. Now, if I go over here and then save, okay. So let us see something interesting happens now. Okay. So while you are deploying your template, it is asking you certain values which you can change. It is asking you certain values which you can change. Okay. Now, if you want to change any of the values, okay, you can basically change it. I am not going to, but I basically select over here and then, okay. So let me change the storage account name. Qt ARM learning dot com purchase. Okay. So it says there were validation errors. Let us see what those errors were. Qtlearning.com is not a valid storage account name. Okay. Okay. So Qt ARM learning. Now let us see what, or how about this. Okay. And to those parameters, you can always write validation rules. So if you get into parameter section over here, right? So in parameters, there is something called as min value, max value, minimum length and maximum length. Okay. You can try to define certain values, but generally will not be doing too much there. Okay. Right. So now let me go into this. Oh, this is Terraform, not this. It says the deployment is succeeded. Now, if I go into this resource group, I should be able to see entire. I've gone into entire. Okay. Now, in this entire, I'll go to subnets. Sorry, saying there are 4 subnets which are created. Okay. So, now is it not convenient? Yes or no? Are you finding this more convenient than what we have done yesterday? Yeah. Now, if you look into what was the template which you have used for deploying, this was the template which you have used for deploying. Okay. Right. So, this is exactly what we have written. Right? So, parameters help you in doing these kind of activities. Parameters help you in doing these kind of activities. Now, whenever we are basically working with what do you call Azure, right? So you not only work with parameters, you also work with two other interesting things. Right? So let us try to find out what that whole stuff is. What that whole stuff is. First, I am going to right to make this script, okay, more effective. Okay, let's look at copy resources. Okay. So are you looking at copy now? So if I'm doing the same activity again and again, why should I basically try to write it multiple times? Try to write it multiple times. Now, if you look into our step, if you see I'm creating 4 subnets and for that I have written 4 statements. Why should I do that? In reality, if I want 10, will I be creating 10? That is not a good idea, right? That is not a good idea. Okay. So for that reason, what we will try to do is, okay, we will try to write a loop. So let me write a simple statement. Okay. So print 1. Okay. So if I want to print 4 values, it would be better for me to try to tell, okay, 1 comma 2 comma, or this is not a string, right? 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. Okay. We have an array. We are trying to tell each, for each element in this array, or this is for the people who know print item. We can do something like that. Or for, this is something everyone knows. For int index equals to 0, index less than, okay. Let us assume this array is items. Items dot length, or length of items, whatever it is. Okay. Index plus plus, and then we will be writing print index. Do you all agree with this? Okay. So rather than repeating the statements, it would be better if you write some kind of a loop. Some kind of a loop. Yes, guys, is there any problem there? Right. Right. So let me try to apply the same stuff to my template. Okay. So I don't want to write my subnets in this way. So what I'll try to do is, okay, I'll not use the same vnet.json, but let me try to create a new file, which is vnet improve.json. Okay. Initially, what I'll try to do is I'll try to copy whatever is there in vnet improve.json. Okay. And one thing which I'll do is I don't need to change any of the parameters. I'm absolutely okay with parameters. Okay. So, but in resources, are you seeing the subnet section? In resources, we have written subnets, right? I'm not going to write subnets over here. Okay. So if you see subnet section, that's it. Okay. Because subnet was not a resource. Subnet was basically created within the resource. I'm going to write the subnet differently. So if you go into ARM template, okay, Azure subnet. Okay. If you go into subnets, is this not subnet? Okay. But we have to go to the latest version of it. So all resources, subnets. And remember, subnets is a child resource. Subnet is a child resource. Okay. And child resources in Azure will have some kind of a naming restriction. Okay. So the name of the child resource should be the name of the parent resources / name of the child resource. So for example, if I am writing them separately, okay, for the parent resource, if the name is test, and if I'm creating a child called as, okay, uh, x1, so the name of the child cannot be x1. You have to write it as test / x1, something like this. Okay, so child resource ARM template. Okay. Now let us look into this. So resources is vnet. Okay. And here, if you write subnet, the child resource is subnet one, but it includes the name of the parent. So are you saying if you're writing outside parent resources name slash child resource name? Okay. Within resource, it will not be problem, but we are writing outside parent resource. So, okay. To adopt, we need to understand, okay, child resource. Okay. Refer here. Refer here. Okay. Right. Now, I'll be using the same logic now. So, let me go into improved template and let me try to write a resource. Okay. Or let me try to write if, let me see, ARM hyphen, or no, where is the help which I'll get? ARM hyphen VNet. They have not given it, so we can't help it. So we have to write this stuff itself. So now, okay, I have to write something called as name. So right now I'm not writing name, okay, because I have to parameterize it. Type, okay. So let us look into what is the type of the subnet. Yeah, yeah. Type is whatever you're seeing on the screen right now. Yeah, right. And then I'll be basically creating API version, which will also be a copy paste. All right. Now I have to give properties, and in properties, I have to basically give address prefix. I have to give address prefix. Okay. So is there anything else required? I don't think so. We require anything. At least at this moment, I don't require anything. Okay. So now here the problem is I don't want to write this resource 4 times. I want to write it only once. And now that is where we started all of this discussion. We said that we are going to use, where is that copy? Yeah. We said that we are going to use copy. Okay. So to my resource over here, okay, I'll be writing a copy section. Are you seeing this? What is the problem? Okay, something. Right. So in parameters, okay, I will be creating one more parameter, which I will be calling it as subnet count. Okay. Then we'll optimize all of this. My subnet count, okay, is a parameter. Type is int. Default values I have 4 subnets. Okay. So I'll go over here and I'm trying to tell that I'm going to use a copy resource. Name of that copy resource is subnet copy, and parameters is parameter of subnet count. Okay. Now let me go to the documentation of this copy. Okay. And in copy by default, resource manager creates the resources in parallel. Okay. But generally, whenever you are creating, resources in parallel, it would be difficult for us to manage. Okay. But you can set the mode to serial or you can set the mode to batch size. Okay. Batch size means number of instances that can be deployed in one time. Now you go into the copy resource. You can give name of the loop, count, mode, serial or parallel. So initially what I want to do is I want to make this mode is serial. Yes. So I'm not going parallel. Did you got this? Yeah. So I'm trying to tell that copy means it is like writing a for loop. Now I want to get name. I want to get the name. So to get the name, we already have something over here. Parameters of, okay, subnet names. Okay. Similarly, I have to get the address prefixes. I have something called as parameters of, okay, subnet CADRs. Okay. And in this for loop, we just need one more thing now. Okay. Which is this index. To get that index, okay, Azure gives us a function. Azure gives us a function which is called as copy index function. Copy index function will try to tell you what is your current index value. Will try to tell you what is your current index value. Am I clear with this? Copy index will try to tell you what is your current index value. Now, right? But the problem over here is, the name of our subnet, we have written it as what? Web, app, DB, and management subnet. Okay. But for us to make it work, we have to give what? Name of your, name of your virtual network name slash, okay, name of your virtual network name slash. Okay. So how can I basically do that? So for today, I'm not going to resolve that. Okay. Tomorrow when we start discussion on functions, okay, then I am going to solve that problem. So for now, I am putting this in parameters, which is not a very good thing to do. Okay. Since the naming convention has to be this, I am changing my default value, right? Which is not a very great thing to be done, but that's okay. That's okay to start with. Okay. So now what I'll try to do is I'll go to the resource groups. Okay. Let me go ahead over here. Right. And let me delete this resource group. Okay. Right. And let me create a new one. Let me create a new one. Okay. So let me call it as ARM learning 2. Review and create, and let us create this. Now, let me go to the ARM learning 2. Okay. And then we know what has to be done. Add. Okay. Template deployment. Create. Build your own template in the editor. I'll go to my template, copy the path of it, and then I'll try to tell load file. Open this stuff. Okay. Now, if you look into what is available over here, okay. Right. Let me try to save that. Sorry, see. Okay. I'll be basically changing the name of it. Qt. There is some typo here, but that's okay. Okay, right. So I've given this. Okay, let me click on purchase. Now you get into the template. It will try to tell what is basically happening. Or yeah, there is something that has gone wrong. Okay, resource not found. Hmm, strange error. Okay, all right. So deployment is failed. Okay, so parent resource slash child resource. Okay, it is name, right? What was the name of the resource which I've given over here? Name is entire. So one small fix should solve this problem. Uh, okay, so yeah, only one thing. We have to add the dependency. Right. So depends on. So basically, what was happening was it was trying to create the resources much before the other one was created. So we have to basically give depends on. Sorry, seeing depends on, and depends on. I have to give the name of the element or name of the resource, right? So name of my resources. What is the name? Parameters of VNet name. That's it. Try to give exactly this. Now I think the problem should be solved. Okay. So mostly to my knowledge, it is dependency issue. It was trying to create a subnet much before what do you call your oh, it was trying to create a subnet much before your virtual network was created. That's the reason for the failure. That's it. Nothing beyond that. So let me go with this. Okay. Save the stuff and ARM learning 2. Yeah, yeah. Let me click on. Let us try to see. All right. Now I think it should go through. Hopefully. Okay. Okay. Now you go to the resource group. You try to tell that in entire. Okay. We have created 4 subnets. Same thing. Okay. But we have what do you call? We have not tried to write it 4 times. If you see our script, okay, rather than writing subnet multiple times, I have written only once, and I've used something called as copy. I've used something called as copy. So now this will be your improvised version. Okay. So in this script, I have used depends on. Okay. Next steps. Okay. Let's look at template functions and improvise the ARM template. ARM template. Okay. All right. So you'll be looking at template functions, variables, outputs. Okay. So this is what we'll be looking in our next class. We'll be looking at functions, variables, and outputs. So once we add this stuff, it becomes more effective. It becomes more effective. So basically, what I would expect is try to do this. Okay. And then, okay. So I have virtual network and all of that stuff, right? So today I'm giving you one exercise. Okay. So look into this. Okay. Okay. Exercise. Okay. Add network security group. Second one. Okay. So this is the first thing which I'm adding. Add network security group to the template. Add public IP address to the template. Third, what else do you want? I think we have storage account. We have network security group. I think we are mostly we need to have network interface card. Network interface. Okay, to the template. Now, what is it I wanted to add? I wanted to add a network security group. So I'll be adding over here. New. I will be showing you in the UI. I want you to basically do the stuff. So the first thing which I want you to add is network security group. So I'm asking you to create a network security group. Okay. Let me click on create. So network security group. I'll also show you the rules what you can add. Our region is East US. Select East US. Call it as open all. Okay. Then review and create. Create. Okay. After creating, we need to change the rules. This should not take this much time, but that's okay. Yeah. So now let us go to network security group. And are using inbound security rules. Okay. In network security group, I have to add this will be a child stuff. I have to add a rule. Any. So this means that open all the ports. This is a very insecure stuff. This is a very, very insecure one, but that's okay. Okay. So, and I'm adding this inbound security rule. Okay. Right. Now let me go to outbound security rule. Outbound security rule, do I need to change any? I don't think so. Don't worry about outbound security rules. Right. So network security group is done. Now let me go into resource groups. The second thing, what is it I have asked? 19 and 20. Preview dot slash, sorry. So preview dot slash images slash ARM 19 dot PNG. Okay. And ARM 20 dot PNG. Okay. Now let me go to ARM learning 2. And now let me add public IP address. Okay. So this is something which you will be adding. All right. Fine. So I'm showing you the concrete steps over here. I want you to do all of this. Okay. Give some name. My IP. If you want to give DNS name, my DNS. Okay. All right. So now select this stuff. Okay. So you have to write a ARM template for all of this. Okay. I'm showing you manually. Now I click on create. Okay. Yeah. Good. Now, sorry, 21 and 22. So let us see if this is created. We have to wait till that is created. Okay. One last resource I'll show. Yeah, it is done. Now you can go to the resource. You'll be able to see that. So this is the IP address which I have. Now let me go into resource group. And I want you to add something called as network interface. Okay. So, right. You have to write ARM template for whatever I'm doing manually now. Click on create. Okay. Then we have to give East US. Okay. Right. And then my neck. Okay. So if you see, I'm basically going with this. Okay. And right. Private IP assignment. Network security group is open all. Okay. Right. Fine. This is more than enough. Now select this, look into the options. Okay. So network interface card is nothing but adapter kind of a stuff, which basically creates the virtual network. Okay. But you just look into those UI and then fill in the values. Okay. Right. And now this is your network interface card. Okay. And if you remember, we have public IP address which we have created in the earlier case. Now, if you go into the public IP address and then are you seeing this associate section? If you click on associate, then it will ask what do you want to associate my public IP address to network interface, and do this. Click on OK. So this network interface will get public IP address. Okay. So this is how your virtual machines are getting public IP address. Now you create a virtual machine and associate this network interface to your virtual machine. So when you create virtual machine, these many things are happening internally. I've shown you the internal steps. Okay. But for me, it doesn't matter. I want you to do all of these steps. Try to write an ARM template for whatever I have done. So is that okay? Right, sir. So I'll stop it at that, and we'll continue this discussion in our next class where we will try to look into what are template functions, what are variables, and what are outputs. Then we will get into Azure blueprints. Okay. Right. Uh, Fine. Okay, guys. So I'm stopping it at that. Okay. So I think I have to add two more images, right? 23 and 24. So let me add that. Right. Fine then. Thanks for your time. So one more thing. Are you guys following this stuff? Because I've seen less response today. Okay. Right. Right. Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your time.